where do you hope to be at the age of 25? Most young people that we talk to don't expect to live past the age of 20.
Wow, continued calls from the community. Families impacted by violence and scared for the younger generation. The latest data about this growing problem in Louisville.
New this morning, the wife of embattled former Clark County Sheriff Jamie Knoll wants a new judge after her recent plea deal has been revoked. We break down her claims against him.
And Louisville health leaders revealing more information about the measles case in Jefferson County and who else could be impacted. They're warning for the public. Wade News Sunrise starts right now.
Now, Wade News Sunrise.
My goodness, listening to that soundbite of young people don't expect to live beyond the age of 20, that is just shocking and startling. We'll have more on that.
Heartbreaking,
yes, really is. Okay, so we have an alert day later today.
Yeah, we're keeping an eye on that noon to 7 p.m. time frame for most of the storms that'll be moving through our area, and they can produce very heavy rain and even some more of those damaging wind gusts. So we have the flood watch for those of you east of Louisville. We're talking from Frankfort up towards Madison and back down towards Taylorsville. You're all included in this flood watch from 2 p.m. until midnight. Now, we could see some heavy rain outside of that, so I want everyone to be weather aware. We got a couple of isolated showers earlier this morning. Right now, most of us quiet and calm with even some beautiful sunrises forming across the region. Now, while we're not looking at much for most of the morning, as we start to approach the late morning hours and towards lunch, some of those scattered showers and thunderstorms can start to clip our southern Indiana counties. As we get further into the afternoon, more of us, especially along that 64 corridor, will be dealing with those showers and thunderstorms, and some of these can be on the stronger side for later on today. Damaging wind gusts will be a concern, and this is why we have that marginal risk of severe weather across the entire region for today. We'll also have to keep an eye on that flash flooding threat that I mentioned, not just today, but all the way into the weekend, because we have been outlooked with some sort of risk for extreme rainfall for today, Friday, and Saturday. Notice for today and Saturday, we have that slight risk for both days with a marginal on Friday. So really watching that heavy rain threat over the next couple of days. I'll let you know how much rain we could see before the weekend is done in my full forecast.
Thank you, Tawana. Families impacted by gun violence. It is the picture painted by community activists desperate to turn the tide on violence in Louisville among young people. While LMPD says homicides have been trending down, the warnings have shifted to focus on teens and children caught between being victims and even sometimes the suspected shooters.
We're also learning more about one of the most recent victims. 17-year-old Dunia Tuhenya was shot and killed this week on Poplar Level Court. He was an incoming senior and the captain of the Moore High School soccer team. His coach stunned by this tragedy.
We have practice from 8 to 10:30 a.m. and Dooney's there, captain is running stretches, running practices, helps us take everything down. And then at 3:20 or 5 o'clock, he's murdered.
Moore High School soccer coach Matias Martinez says Dooney was always the first one at practice and the last one to leave. Martinez says Dooney came to Louisville with his family from Africa. He described Dooney as a quiet leader who was a straight-A student and a fiercely talented soccer player.
He had his whole future ahead of him, and just for something senseless like this and unprovoked, it's mind-boggling.
The Louisville Gun Violence Dashboard shows the number of non-fatal shootings from the start of this year through May 23rd. In that time, people between the ages of 18 through 44 accounted for the bulk of the city's non-fatal shooting victims.
But that changed this summer because since May 23rd, that's the last day of school for JCPS, the 11 to 17 age group has had the highest percentage of non-fatal shooting victims. 17 kids have been injured in shootings, 4 have been killed. This as organizations in the community are trying to improve those numbers. The Community Connections Group is holding a public meeting tonight. They're going to roll out a new 30-point plan. That'll be at 5:30 at their location on Montgomery Street. Leaders of the group called what is happening this summer a crisis, and they say there's not one solution. They don't expect changes overnight, but they say they have to start somewhere.
I believe that when we ask kids to lay down weapons, get out of gangs, we have to replace it with something else. We have to talk about jobs. We have to talk about education.
Community Connection says the meeting is open to Metro leaders, nonprofits, and anyone who is concerned about keeping Louisville safe. LMPD says they're working hard to solve violent crimes in this city, and we learned that they did make an arrest in a shooting at a basketball court that killed one teen and injured 2 others in February. Police say 19-year-old Sean Grady is charged with murder, attempted murder, and assault. They say he was playing basketball with a group of teens when he and 2 others took out guns and shot and killed a 14-year-old. Police say they then shot at the other teens who were running away. LMPD says security video, digital data, along with evidence, place Grady as one of the shooters. Police say Grady was arrested in Indiana, and a gun recovered from his car matched the one used in the shooting. He is expected in court today.
All the chaos inside the Expo Center on Sunday also puts safety and security involving kids on a lot of people's minds, and now some are worried about the impact a new Kentucky law could have in these types of situations. We're talking about Senate Bill 181. The law requires school staff to only communicate with students through traceable online platforms that their school district has approved. But when emergencies happen and staff need to talk to students quickly, many educators worry it will prevent them from being able to check in. We're told some already had to let their supervisors know they broke the law, trying to find their students in Sunday's panic.
A lot of the biggest problem right now is everyone says, oh, just use the approved app. Well, a lot of districts don't have the approved app in place yet. And even if they do, the students may not necessarily have that on their phone and have not had training on how to use it because we're not back in school.
Every district is required to have an opt-out form, so unless parents provide written consent, staff and volunteers cannot use personal devices, social media, or third-party apps to communicate with students.
New this morning, the wife of former Clark County Sheriff Jamie Knoll wants a new judge to handle her case. Misty Knoll's lawyers say Judge Larry Medlock is biased. Judge Medlock is considering revoking a plea deal Knoll made earlier this month. Knoll's accused of spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on the new Chapel EMS credit card. The judge set a hearing for Knoll to explain why she pled guilty in court, but then gave interviews when she defended her actions. Knoll's lawyers say that plea deal should not be revoked, and Judge Medlock is targeting Misty Knoll. They point to Judge Medlock attending an auction of Jamie Knoll's property in May. The next hearing in the case is set for August 12th.
Kentucky's Attorney General wants to help curb gun violence.
It's part of his response to the shooting spree where 2 women were killed and 3 others hurt, including a state trooper in Lexington. The trooper who was shot is Jude Ramillion. He was shot Sunday after officials say he pulled over Guy House near the Bluegrass Airport. He is still in the hospital but expected to survive. Attorney General Russell Coleman says he gave Trooper Ramillion a small medallion representing the AG's office. Coleman says he plans to address convicted felons getting access to guns. And he said in a release he, along with everyone who carries a badge, has a duty to go after people involved in gun violence in the state.
Louisville health leaders are releasing more information about the measles case in Jefferson County. That includes a warning about others that could have been exposed. Mayor Craig Greenberg's office says the child visited the Kroger on Dixie Highway on July 9th. If you were inside the store between 9:15 a.m. and noon that day, Metro leaders say you may have been exposed to the virus. The health department is doing contact tracing and contacting anyone who might be impacted. Doctors say if you've received both doses of the measles vaccine, you should be protected from the virus.
With several deadly crashes on the 2nd Street Bridge and that terrifying situation when a semi and its driver were left dangling off the side of it, an Indiana state representative says she wants to make the trip across the Ohio River safer. Last night, Representative Wendy Dant-Chesser held a public meeting in southern Indiana looking to get feedback from drivers. One Jeffersonville business owner says he drives over the bridge twice a day and has noticed accidents over the years. Some of the solutions presented included reducing the number of lanes, better enforcement of the speed limit, and also limiting the type of vehicles allowed on the bridge.
Most of us don't understand why they can't take a picture of a license plate and send out a fine. And I think if they started ticketing people for speeding on that bridge, it would solve the problem. But it seems to be more to it than just what sounds like a simple solution.
Kentucky State Police data shows LMPD has responded to 182 crashes on the bridge in the last 5 years.
Crews are delaying work to make Hospital Curve on I-65 safer. The Kentucky Transportation Cabinet says it's postponing work that would have closed the southbound lanes near the Kennedy Bridge this weekend. Crews cited concerns about the weather. Transportation leaders say expansion joints and potholes around Hospital Curve need to be repaired. The new date for that work has not been set yet. JCPS's new superintendent is hosting a series of public meetings designed to engage with students and parents before the new school year starts. The first of Dr. Brian Yearwood's community conversations is Monday, July 28th. That'll be at Seneca High School from 5:30 to 7 p.m. Guests can ask questions and learn more about Dr. Brian Yearwood's vision for the future of JCPS. The forums are open to the public. The next one will be at Fairdale High School on Wednesday, July 30th, and the other dates are there on your screen. We have that full list and more on Yearwood's background in this story on wave3.com. Today, you can weigh in on the Northwest Louisville Community Connectivity Study.
It's designed to find the best ways for the state to connect Northwest Louisville neighborhoods to the Ohio riverfront. The project plans to connect neighborhoods south of I-64 to areas around the Ohio River. Right now, the highway, railroad lines, flood walls, and other structures limit direct access to the riverfront. The study will work to improve those connections. The Kentucky Transportation Cabinet is hosting the meetings today at the Portland Community Center. They're going to have 2 sessions, the first one going from noon to 2 and the second one this evening from 5 to 7. But if you're heading out tonight, you could run into some storms.
Yes, and that is going to be a big difference from the beautiful sunrises that we're seeing across the region as of right now. But as we continue throughout the day, we are going to be watching for more of those showers and thunderstorms rolling in for this afternoon, and these can produce some torrential rainfall along with some strong winds. Outside of that, highs today in the upper 80s and the low 90s. I'll talk a little bit more about how much rain we have seen over the past couple of days and how much rain we could see through the weekend on the other side of the break.
All right, thank you, Tawana. Just ahead here on Sunrise, public broadcasters getting ready for funding cuts. We'll look at the potential impact to KET and Louisville Public Media coming up.
And we are in the middle of Burger Week. Marissa Burke is live this morning to show us one of the 40-plus restaurants offering a special priced burger this week.
Oh, and those look so good right there. You know what else looks good right now? Our traffic. Not seeing any incidents popping up on our traffic map. Everything looks good to go on your Thursday morning.
Now, Wave News.
Just a few days left to try some different burger combinations for a special deal from restaurants all over the city.
It's Louisville Burger Week, and that's the perfect time to go out and support Louisville's restaurant scene and figure out which restaurant has the best burger of all. Fierce competition out there. And Wave News reporter Marissa Burke joining us live from Brass Social. And, oh, Marissa, I can't even focus. Those look beautiful.
They taste beautiful. You can't see my little burger pooch is what I've been calling it, because that's a good burger. It's laughing at me, but it's a good burger. And so I had the plain Jane, and the meat spoke for itself, and it's locally sourced, but we got to pair it with something, Brandon.
Nothing goes better with a good burger than beer. So we wanted to keep the local trend going. Everything that we put on tap is always going to be Kentucky beer. That's something that we have, been very passionate about. We actually partnered with Hostapel. They make a Pilsner for us called Social Light. And then also their spent grains from that beer help feed the cows as well. So full circle, try to keep it as local as possible. This week we are featuring Noble Funk's beers. We have a Pilsner from them called Victory, and then the IPA is the Mr. American.
Oh, like we said, this is the American combination right there.
Yes, yes, it is. It is.
And this is just one of those great things that just goes along with Burger Week, because the burger deal is $8, and that's with fries, right?
So, actually, no.
Ooh,
so $8 is just the burger. So you can add fries, tots, chips. We have tons of other sides as well. So that kind of keeps us, rolling and able to keep up with the volume. So.
And I got to tell you guys, you got to get the fries, because they are also really good and pair perfectly with the burgers. And we were telling people that, you're going to be trying all sorts of different burgers this week, but there's different, levels to the burger.
There's definitely different levels. Which is great. Backyard burgers are going to taste different than a restaurant burger. So we really, really wanted to focus and really nail it home that we're using local stuff, and our blends like 80-20. It just comes out great.
And guys, you got to taste it. So if you are curious about what Brass Social or any of the other burgers and restaurants that are going to be participating, they're about $7 to $8, and you got to get the fries, got to get the pairings. But if you're curious, go to LouisvilleBurgerWeek.com. Marissa Burke, Wave News.
I can't get over the fact that she said burger pooch.
That was funny.
You're too funny, Marissa. Thank you. Oh, but yeah, I think we all have a little burger pooch.
Well,
right?
not right now,
Well, not right
because I
now.
haven't eaten it yet.
I wish I had a burger
Me
pooch
too.
right now.
So future burger pooches.
Yes.
What we're looking at. And by the way, as you go to some of these restaurants for the rest of the week, you may have to be doing a little bit of the eating inside. The patio eating may not be the way to go, especially as we deal with, one, the warm and humid conditions, and two, the fact that we have a little bit more of that heavy rain coming our way. So the alert day is in place for later on this afternoon, watching that noon to 7 p.m. time frame for the best opportunity for some of those stronger storms to push through wave country. We do have a flood watch in place for those of you east of the metro, so anywhere from Spencer County up into Jefferson County in Indiana included in this from 2 p.m. until midnight. And I just want to show you how much rainfall we've gotten since Monday. So everywhere you see that yellow on your screen has been 2 to 3 inches of rainfall since Monday. So that means for many of us along and north of the parkways, the ground is very saturated. So you start to add on additional rainfall on top of that, and this is where the flooding concern starts to come in. So as of right now, things are quiet across the region. We're seeing clear skies, the radar picking up those birds taking off in parts of the Louisville metro, as we typically see at 6 a.m. every morning. But we're watching the cold front off towards our northwest, and that is going to be the catalyst for our rain chances, not just today, but through the rest of the week and into the weekend. Looking at our SkyTrack camera in Jeffersonville, peeking off towards the east, another beautiful sunrise showing up there. So we'll see that sun officially coming up over the horizon in about 10 minutes. Your temperatures, not too shabby, 60s and low 70s, run around average for this time of the year. And once we get into the afternoon, we'll see temperatures jumping all the way into the upper 80s and low 90s with the help of today's southerly winds, plus that sunshine. Now, this morning, we could see a couple of stray showers trying to move through parts, especially of Kentucky. We'll watch that as the morning progresses, but it's really after lunch that we see a better chance for those showers and thunderstorms to start to move into and through wave country. So this is when we could start to see some of the heaviest rainfall, some of the strongest winds embedded in these thunderstorms. So that is that time frame, noon to 7 p.m. that you have to be watching closely. Once we get past that, especially as you get close to the sunset, our rain chances drop off, but they don't completely go away. I'm going to keep that potential for a few isolated showers in the forecast overnight, but most of us just going to be cloudy and dry. So for today, you can see anywhere from 1/10 of an inch of rainfall to 2 inches of rain in some parts of wave country. And honestly, with some of these storms, I would not be surprised if some of these totals are higher, because one, we're going to have so much of that warmth that adds a lot more moisture to the air, and those showers and thunderstorms can tap into that. On top of all of this, we're going to be watching that damaging wind threat with some of those thunderstorms later on today. This is why the marginal risk of severe weather is in place. We roll into tomorrow morning, and we're going to be doing it all over again. More of those showers and thunderstorms coming back our way, because that front that I showed you actually stalls out across the region for tomorrow. This is why we're looking at some early morning rounds of storms for your Friday, and some additional scattered showers and thunderstorms for your Friday afternoon and evening. So not a washout by any regard, but you certainly are still going to need to be weather aware for tomorrow, because as we deal with the multiple rounds of rain from the morning into the afternoon and evening, those totals could start to add up pretty quickly, and some of you could see near 1 inch plus of additional rainfall just on Friday. Remember, that front is still going to be around over the upcoming weekend. It drifts to the north as a warm front, then kind of hangs out to our north as we get throughout your Saturday, keeping those scattered showers and thunderstorms in our forecast then. And on Sunday, kind of drifts right back down into our region, keeping the rain chances all the way Friday into Monday. So that means from Friday through Monday, we could see an additional 2 to 3 inches of rain in some parts of wave country. So please stay weather aware. The middle of next week looking drier, thankfully, but also a lot hotter as we get back into the mid-90s for your highs then. And yet another system moving towards us for the end of next week could bring some more showers and thunderstorms and also some cooler temperatures our way.
Here's a look at the current Kentucky Lottery jackpots. The Kentucky Lottery, funding education for over 1 million Kentucky students.
The attempted kidnapping of a Florida woman caught on camera. Scary video here. It happened last month in St. Augustine, but this video was recently released.
Police say she did everything right in this situation. Watch. Wow. Okay, so this is 31-year-old Theodore Tundador trying to force the clerk at a smoke shop into a stolen truck. He had just robbed the store. When the clerk tried to block the exit, he then tried to get her into that stolen vehicle. A witness saw the whole thing and stepped in.
He grabbed her again and tried to get her back in the car, and I believe because she wouldn't quit fighting, and I was there screaming as well, that he got scared off. So I was able to get her into my vehicle, and we went and locked ourselves inside of the subway until the police arrived.
So he was arrested and is now facing multiple charges, including car theft and kidnapping. The sheriff's office in Florida said the victim did everything right. They say if you're ever in this situation, you should just scream and fight and try to attract attention and get away from this scene as quickly as you can. Wow.
And props to the woman who helped her out.
I know.
Brave right there.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, wow.
Crazy.
Okay, that was incredible. I'm glad everybody is okay in that situation for sure. And for today, we do have an alert day out for the afternoon and evening as we watch more of those showers and thunderstorms coming our way. These can easily produce some very heavy rain that can lead to some localized flash flooding. Also, we'll have to watch a damaging wind threat with some of these thunderstorms. We get into your Friday, we see some of those storms again in the morning. Then once we get into the afternoon, same thing. And we're going to keep that trend going for Saturday, Sunday, and into Monday as well, with that front stalling out across wave country for those days. Next week is when we finally get some drier weather coming back into our forecast, but also seeing the heat building as high pressure takes over towards next Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. But keep in mind that heat doesn't look to last incredibly long because another system will bring us some more of those showers and thunderstorms towards next Friday and potentially into the following weekend as well.
All right, thank you, Tawana. President Donald Trump is taking new steps in the fight against illegal fentanyl trafficking nationwide. Yesterday, President Trump signed the Halt All Lethal Trafficking of Fentanyl Act into law. It permanently classifies all fentanyl-related substances as Schedule I narcotics. The classification is used for drugs that have a high potential for abuse and no accepted medical use. The bill was backed by both Republicans and Democrats. It also targets counterfeit versions of the drug.
Coming up at 6:30, a lawsuit against the company Givaudan. Oral arguments are set to start today after neighbors are suing the company after the factory exploded. What's included in that suit? Ahead on Sunrise.
Now, Wave News Sunrise.
Good morning. It is Thursday morning, and today is a day to show off your unique body art because it's National Tattoo Day. Human marking their bodies with permanent ink is actually a practice that goes back thousands of years. They've reached back to the history, goes to the days of the ancient Egyptians. So if you all were to get one, I mean, Tawana's the only one here.
Tawana has a tattoo, and I didn't know this until literally just now.
Just now. We all look around and we're like, do you have any tattoos? Shannon and I don't, but you do.
Yeah, my husband and I got matching tattoos literally the day after our wedding, and it's of our wedding date, so it's pretty simple.
That's so sweet.
But yeah, we wanted to, like, you know, make sure. I felt like that felt more permanent than the actual wedding itself, if I'm being honest.
You know what's interesting? A third of Americans have tattoos. I didn't realize that with so many.
Yeah, it's a cool way to express yourself.
Yeah.
One of our producers has tattoos of her cat, so, you know.
Wearing a cowboy hat.
Wearing a cowboy hat.
It looks exactly like Steve.
I love it. Shout out to Steve there. If you're heading out this this morning. We are seeing some absolutely gorgeous sunrises across the area. We have a couple of those clouds off into the distance, and that sun is coming up over the horizon in just 2 minutes. So a beautiful start to the day. But while it's quiet right now, things are not going to stay that way as we head throughout the rest of your Thursday. Watching a couple of those showers and thunderstorms off towards our north. Some of those producing some pretty heavy rain as they move through portions of central Indiana. A flood watch is in place from 2 p.m. until midnight for those of you east of Louisville, because this is where we've seen some of the heaviest rainfall in the past few days, and any additional rainfall could lead to some localized flash flooding. But everyone needs to be weather aware for today, whether you're in that flood watch or not. We'll watch for those showers and thunderstorms moving into portions of southern Indiana as early as about 10, 11 o'clock this morning. We'll keep that potential for more of those showers and thunderstorms through the afternoon and into the evening hours, but it's really that noon to 7 p.m. time frame that we have the best opportunity for some of the heftier thunderstorms with torrential rainfall and some of those gusty winds. Highs today, by the way, upper 80s and low 90s. We do have a marginal risk of severe weather across the region because of that damaging wind threat that will come along with those afternoon and evening storms. So a lot to watch today, but keep in mind we'll be seeing more of that rain all the way into the upcoming weekend. Shannon.
Thanks, Tawana. New on Sunrise, oral arguments are set to start today in a lawsuit against Givaudan. Neighbors are suing the company after its factory on Payne Street damaged their homes in November. The explosion killed 2 employees and injured 11 others. Edward Alex Roberts and Anna Carolina Gomez Bridge were in their home when the factory exploded. The lawsuit says the force of the explosion blew out the home's windows, damaged floors, and caused foundational problems. The lawsuit is seeking compensation for Roberts and Gomez Bridges' injuries. Gomez Bridges says she's been experiencing headaches since the explosion. They're also asking for punitive damages and any further relief entitled to the plaintiffs.
Happening now, Hardin County Sheriff's deputies want help to find a robbery suspect. Deputies say this person walked into the Eastview Food Mart earlier this month with a gun. Investigators don't have any details about the getaway car they used, but if you know who this person is, you should call the Hardin County Sheriff's Office. LMPD wants to find the person they say shot a man inside a car in the Park Duval neighborhood. Police were called to West Magnolia Avenue just after 3 o'clock yesterday. Officers found the victim when they arrived on scene. First responders took him to the hospital, and he should recover. So if you have any tips in this case, you should reach out to LMPD by calling their anonymous tip line 574-LMPD.
This morning, a man is in jail after police say he killed a woman in May. Officers arrested Jamie Shelby Tuesday in Jeffersonville. Police say he shot and killed Latasha White. Her body was found in the woods with a gunshot wound around Newport Road on May 7th. White's family had not heard from her in 10 days before her body was discovered. LMPD says White and Shelby were in a relationship. Shelby is charged with murder, domestic violence, robbery, and possession of a handgun by a convicted felon.
One of the 3 men found guilty in the Crystal Rogers case wants his conviction tossed out, and he wants a new trial. Joseph Lawson's attorneys argue he faced an unfair and prejudiced jury. They claim Judge Charles Sims did not dismiss jurors based on whether they knew about Joseph's father, Steve Lawson's trial. He was convicted on conspiracy to commit murder and tampering with evidence charges. On top of that, Lawson's attorneys argue their client was collateral damage in a case against co-defendant Brooks Houck. Lawson's motion will be heard at his August 21st sentencing, where he and Houck both face the maximum recommended time behind bars. Southern Indiana leaders and Kentucky State Police are teaming up to protect people from scammers. Law enforcement say many times they see scammers targeting people who are 60 or older.
FBI data shows nearly $3.5 billion was lost in elder scam schemes in 2023. So that is why police and Indiana Representative Wendy Dant Chesser held a clinic at the Ken Ellis Senior Center in Jeffersonville.
The problem with scammers is that they keep coming back because sometimes it works, and we don't want it to work anymore. So the only way to do that is to educate people to protect themselves and what clues to look for.
Experts say anyone, young or senior, can be the target of a scam. And if you've been a victim and lost money, contact your local police department.
$11 million on the line for public radio and TV stations across Kentucky. That's if Congress cuts federal funds to public broadcasting.
Public broadcasters want their audience to know losing federal funds might do more than just put their favorite programming at risk. The stations of Louisville Public Media operate under a $6.5 million budget. Almost all of that comes from memberships and private donations. 5% of the budget comes from the now endangered federal grants. LPM management says losing that could result in cuts to jobs, content, or public events.
We're talking about educational programs, and we're talking about emergency alert systems. We're talking in other Kentucky stations. These are the stations that are the pinnacle and the point of contact for tornadoes.
KET also said the same thing about their 16 stations. They could lose more than $4 million in federally funded grants, and much of that is spent on locally produced programs. Much of KET's annual funding comes from taxpayers through the state legislature, and there's an appeal on the KET website asking viewers to call their Congress people to protect funds for public broadcasting. It's 6:37. Let's go to Tawana taking a look at the next 12 hours.
And what we're going to see for today, more of those showers and thunderstorms coming our way as early as the late morning for some of you in southern Indiana. And then for most of us, we're watching that noon to 7 p.m. time frame for some of the strongest storms to push through. This comes along with some very heavy rain and also some damaging winds. I'll break down a little bit more about what we're going to see in terms of rainfall for today and all the way into the weekend on the other side of the break.
Thank you so much. Coming up on Sunrise, JCPS athletes are already out there practicing for fall sports, but keeping them safe in the heat is a big concern. So we'll tell you what they're doing ahead.
Quick look at your traffic. Not seeing anything really popping up. We've got a couple of disabled vehicles along I-65, but other than that, should be good. Starting to slow down on Bardstown Road in Fern Creek, though, but that's a pretty typical spot to see some delays. Everywhere else, looking good. As WAVE celebrates America's 250th anniversary next year, we're looking back at what happened on this day in history. On July 17th, 1996, the Louisville Slugger Museum opened for the first time. The museum and factory celebrates the role Louisville Slugger baseball bats have played in the game for decades. The museum underwent some major renovations that began in 2008 and wrapped up in 2023. So if you haven't been there since, it's the perfect time to check it out. It's incredible, too. The first bat, older than 100 years old, before the factory the museum even opened.
Yeah.
1884 was the first bat.
Yes. How many mini bats do you have in your house?
A lot.
I do too.
I think I have 4 or 5 just in my apartment. I worked there, so it makes sense.
Right. Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, so I recommend checking it out. It's a lot of fun.
For sure. Okay. Well, this week, it's all about the hamburger.
And more than 40 restaurants are offering special deals for Burger Week. Also a chance to try out a new spot. So WAVE News reporter Marissa Berg joining us live from Brass Social. That's one of the new spots. And Marissa, we're hearing great reviews already from you.
Absolutely. Again, you can't see my burger pooch. But one of the things that's also really interesting about Brass Social is that there's not just the Burger Week deal. There's another deal that goes along with it.
There is. So we are in the building with Next Level Ranges, and we are a whole concept. So we wanted to have a place where somebody could come shoot some guns and then come have a burger and some beer, but you have to drink second. So if you come to have a burger at Burger Week this week, we're going to give you a coupon for half off range time or 20% off a training class, and that's good through next Wednesday.
Oh, see, great deals to look forward to besides just the $8 burgers. And when we talk about the burgers, you guys source your meat from local farms, including yours.
Yeah, that's right. So our farm is Double J Beef. We're in Spencer County, and then our neighbor's farm is Ridge Creek Farms, and you can buy direct from us. All the ground beef comes here to the restaurant, but we sell steaks and roasts and short ribs and brats and all the good stuff. So you can go to our websites and find us there and see when we're open.
One of the big, I guess you say, compliments to the chef is that these burgers are juicy, and we were talking about what are the cows being fed to make them taste so good?
Right. So both of us finish. It's grain on grass. So that means in the last about 6 weeks or 90 days, we're finishing them with a brewer's grain from Hull Softball Brewing, and then they're in the field eating grass too. So that gives them a really nice flavor and juicy and just the best burger.
So guys, if you're curious about what we're talking about and what it tastes like, you got to come out to Brass Social and try them out for Burger Week. Marissa Burke, Wave News, back to you.
I have dibs on those pickles there on the side.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, Tawana said, don't have those pickles touching my burger. She's not a pickle person.
You're missing out.
Oh, am I?
Yes. Oh, do you want to? Here, we'll let you come into the show. There you go. Yeah, I mean, burgers, I think they need pickles on it, but there's so many great toppings with Louisville Burger Week. I mean, they throw together some incredible combinations
Right,
you wouldn't even think of.
Very fun.
Yeah, and I think those patios are going to be full for anything that's going on earlier in the afternoon, but as the afternoon goes along, that's when you can start to run into some issues with the heavy rain. So I'll talk about the rain for today, and of course the alert day that's in place as well in just 30 seconds. Good morning, everyone. Meteorologist Tawana Andrew here with a check of your forecast. We still have the flood watch in place for those of you east of the metro. So we're talking Jefferson County in Indiana included in this. For our Kentucky counties included in the flood watch, we have Carroll County, Trimble, and Oldham counties, along with Henry County, Shelby County, Franklin County, and Spencer County. So those are the spots we'll be watching a little bit closer, but we'll be keeping an eye on everyone for that localized flash flooding threat with the rain that's going to be moving our way for later on today. Right now, though, we're enjoying this gorgeous sunrise in our SkyTrack camera in New Albany. That light reflecting off some of those upper level clouds off into the distance there. A beautiful way to start off the day. Now, while the day is starting on such a really nice note, things are going to change as we head into later on this afternoon. Of course, right now we're seeing mainly clear skies across our region, but we are watching this front off towards our northwest. This is going to be the reason that we see more of those showers and thunderstorms firing up for later on today, and it's the reason that we have the alert day in place for later on this afternoon and evening. So your temperatures already on the warm side, upper 60s and low 70s. Once we head into later on this afternoon, we'll see those temperatures jumping into the upper 80s and low 90s. Now, keep in mind that as those temperatures warm, the atmosphere is able to hold a lot more moisture, and this is going to be the catalyst for more of those storms moving our way with that heavy rainfall. So as early as around 10, 11 o'clock, some of you in southern Indiana could start to see some scattered showers and storms as that front moves closer. But for the majority of us, we're talking after lunch through the afternoon and evening, we'll see those rounds of showers and thunderstorms firing up. Keep in mind with these, they can produce not just heavy rain, but also some of those gusty winds. Now, rain chances do gradually drop off as the evening goes along, but then we'll watch for more of those showers and thunderstorms once we get into early tomorrow morning. So for today, we could see anywhere from 1/4 inch to 2 inches of rainfall. Some of the modeling trying to push some of those totals a little bit higher as of right now, and that is something that we'll keep a very close eye on because flooding is one of the biggest killers across the U.S. and especially across Kentucky and Indiana. So just turn around, don't drown if you're dealing with any of that water for today. We also have a marginal risk of severe weather in place across the entire region, with damaging wind gusts the main concern with some of those showers and thunderstorms later on this afternoon. We get into your Friday, that front that I showed you is going to stall out across the region. This is why we're looking at rounds of showers and thunderstorms from the morning hours, with a little bit more of those scattered storms trying to show up as we head into tomorrow afternoon and evening. Now, once we get into your Saturday and Sunday, that front still nearby. It's going to drift to the north as a warm front. This is going to help with our warming trend as we head into your Saturday and Sunday. So more of those 80s and low 90s, even with those showers and thunderstorms nearby. The entire weekend doesn't look to be a washout, but we're going to keep those rain chances around each day. This does linger into your Monday, by the way, with that front still hovering around the region. And between your Friday and Monday, we can see anywhere from 2 to 3 inches of additional rainfall. This is on top of the 1 to 2 that some of you may see today. and the 2+ inches that many of you have already seen so far this week. This is why we're so focused in on that flooding threat. By the middle of next week, though, we stop wondering really about the rainfall and start talking about more of that heat coming our way, with mid-90s for highs for Wednesday and Thursday. And then here we go again. Another front moving towards us for the end of next week into the following weekend, dropping our temperatures down into those lower 90s. And we'll talk about a little bit more of those storms coming back into the forecast.
All right, thank you, Tawana. We've learned how a Hart County boy who was at the center of an emergency alert died. Kentucky State Police say they were called to Gap Hill Road and Cub Run to search for 5-year-old Silas Shearer. Ring footage showed the child leaving the house on his own around 5 a.m. on Tuesday. Troopers searched the area to find him, even deploying drones in their search. But Silas was found dead 4 hours later. The Hart County coroner confirmed they believe he died after drowning. We're still waiting on toxicology results to make the final ruling. The heat of summer can be dangerous to those who spend a lot of time outside.
And that includes JCPS athletes who've been practicing over the summer, so staff's been using special equipment to monitor temperatures on the field. If they're reaching dangerous levels, coaches limit the time players are on the field, and then they go inside to practice. And if a student shows signs of heat exhaustion, they have some equipment to help cool them down. JCPS also sets a 2-hour limit on practices, scheduling them for cooler times like mornings or evenings, and taking frequent water breaks as well. It's 6:50. Here's a look at the big stories we're following from around the country and the world.
The U.S. and NATO are working with Germany to get more Patriot missile systems to Ukraine. U.S. officials made the announcement this morning. They say they have been given guidance to transfer the weapons as quickly as possible. The move comes just days after President Trump announced that NATO countries would be purchasing U.S. weapons and sending them to Ukraine to fight Russia.
Vice President J.D. Vance will be in Pennsylvania today to celebrate the signing of the Big Beautiful Bill into law. This as many Democratic lawmakers are concerned about the negative impacts of the bill. Americans across the U.S. are said to be planning protests over the new law today. Also happening today, Texas Governor Greg Abbott will hold a press conference on Texas's response to that severe and deadly flooding.
We'll be right back with your Wake Up Watch List right after this.
Taking a look at the top headlines in today's Wake Up Watch List.
Oral arguments are set to start today in a lawsuit against Givaudan. Neighbors are suing the company after its factory on Payne Street damaged their homes back in November. The explosion killed 2 people and injured 11 others. Edward Alex Roberts and Anna Carolina Gomez Bridge were in their home when the factory exploded. The lawsuit is seeking compensation for Roberts and Gomez Bridge's injuries.
The Community Connections Group is holding a public meeting tonight. They want to roll out a new 30-point plan to stop gun violence. It'll be at 5:30 at their location on Montgomery Street. Community Connections says the meeting is open to Metro leaders, nonprofits, and anyone who is concerned about the safety in Louisville. Here is Tawana. We have an alert day later today.
Yeah, we're watching that noon to 7 p.m. time frame for the best opportunity to see some of those stronger thunderstorms coming into the forecast. And we do have a flood watch in place for those of you further to the east of the Louisville Metro as well, because you've seen some pretty heavy rain over the past couple of days. But right now, it's all out that sunshine beaming down across the area. We're going to keep that sun around for most of the morning, adding in more of those clouds towards lunch and eventually the storms for the afternoon. Your temperatures are in the 60s and low 70s, but we are going to climb into the upper 80s and low 90s for highs. And one important thing to note for these afternoon highs, our heat index will be near 100 degrees because we'll have so much moisture in the air, along with those storms that will come later on this afternoon that can produce the torrential rainfall, of course, that localized flash flooding threat and the damaging wind threat along with all of it. And then we're going to watch for more storms in the forecast from tomorrow all the way towards Monday, and then next week really heating up across wave country.
And for your morning commute, things are dry right now, so leading to good conditions out there on the roads. A couple of cars pulled over along 65, one on the ramp from 65 northbound onto 64 eastbound, so keep an eye out for that. But everything looks like it's rolling pretty well this morning. But again, keep an eye out for that rain that'll come down later today.
So it's that torrential rain that's really concerning, especially as we get into the weekend, because some people have already seen 4 inches of rain this week.
Wow.
And you just add on to that as we get into the weekend.
It's been coming down so fast, too. I mean, yesterday was so sunny, but we have to remember we woke up to
with the heavy rain. Exactly.
That's true. All right. Thanks so much for waking up with us. You can join us on Wave Now for more.
Have a great
Get live streaming news, 24-hour weather, investigations, podcasts, and more